Could you tell us about your own playing career? Who did you play for? What position were you? If you compared yourself to another player, who would it be?
God, blimey. So playing-wise, I played locally. So I was I had a few games at Norwich United, but primarily I played at Barton.
Yeah.
Sprowston Athletic were my sort of main clubs. And to be honest, I'd probably say early in my 20s, I kind of made the conscious decision that I got more out of coaching than I did playing.
Right, okay.
And I played centre-half or right-back. And I played, like I said, sort of Anglian Prem pretty much was my level. And I was, I was okay at that level.
Yeah.
But I never got the fulfillment from playing that I did from coaching. So from the age of 15, I started my coaching badges. I passed my UEFA A licence when I was 26. And I was working in the academy at the time at Norwich. And then I was leaving there on a Saturday morning. Train the boys in the Saturday morning, go into a fixture to play myself Saturday afternoon. Sunday morning, I'd be back at Colney to either catch an early morning bus to go and play a team in London or play a home fixture. And then I was back at my desk at the football club on a Monday morning. So it just became such a bubble. And when I got to the point on a Saturday afternoon where my then manager started saying, "Steve, is there anything you want to say?" And also on training nights, can you deliver this part of the session? I think that was the point that I kind of said, I don't want to do that. This is kind of my release of playing is what that is. If that's the case, I think I'm rather go and coach or work with a team or watch a game.
Yeah.
So I had an offer to go to Wroxham and run their reserves. And at that point, I was still playing at 26. And in the pre-season, I did pre-season as a player. And I played 2 friendly games and just said, I can't do this. I'm going to stop. So I stopped playing Saturday football at 26 and just became reserve team manager, which was a good decision because obviously then I went on a journey. I still played Sunday football. So in fairness, probably in terms of trophies, more success came on a Sunday playing for Delaney's and the Doghouse. And we had 3 Sunday Senior Cup finals, won 2 of them. So I kept playing then until still only 28, and then I just said, "Look, I've had enough of football." So playing. Yeah. So certainly not an illustrious career football-wise, but I think that's because from an early age I'd already decided that playing ain't going to pay your bills, but coaching might contribute to them. And my dad sort of helped me with that decision making and pointed me on the path there. So yeah, in that sort of 11-year period, I went through on the coaching badges.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you actively pursued the coaching at that kind of age, as well.
I was just getting so much more out of it, yeah, I was, and obviously I was, lucky enough to be working in an elite environment with 14, 15, 16-year-old boys who many of which have gone on and had really good professional careers, but I was just getting far more out of that. So when I looked at it of what I was actually going to concede, I had to just make those decisions and did.
And did you say you had UEFA A license by 26 or something?
26, yeah. I think I was one of the youngest people in Norfolk to have it at the time. Obviously, it won't be now, 10 years. Yeah, it was like sort of the big brother house at Lilleshall. 2 weeks in year 1 and then another 2 weeks in year 2, yeah.
Okay.
So, there's 26, 27 on my course and 7 passed, I think. It was intense, but it was, good experience.
So I think I can more or less piece together. So you were Wroxham reserves and working with Norwich's academy, kind of at the youth levels. What other jobs have you had as sort of coaching, managerial?
Yeah, so from Wroxham I went with the reserves. David Batch was then first team manager, and that coincided the following year in saying, like, I want you to migrate into a coaching role with the first team, which I did, which coincided with the Vars run where we went to Wembley, which was great.
No, of course. And Andy was playing at that point.
And he was playing, so that, you know, it really was a nice time, you know. And when we talk about like that dressing room mix of what we've got now, it was exactly the same at Wroxham. You know, we had senior players like Scott Howie, Graham Challen, boys like that, and then we had, you know, Gav Paulin in that group as well, and then we had sort of emerging, well, not even emerging, sort of mid 20s, later 20s, you know, boys like Sean Howes, Gav Lemon, Danny White, and then we had like some younger ones coming through, like my brother.
Yeah.
So we had a fantastic group, and a dressing room that did manage itself, but obviously really talented. So that was a brilliant experience to do that. And I was director of football then at Wroxham for a year, linking all the youth up as well.
Yeah.
And then we got the opportunity to go to Sudbury. So I was assistant manager to David at Sudbury, which again, I had a wider remit of linking all the youth.
Would Sudbury have been a higher level in AFC?
Yeah, that was. No, it was the same. It was the same level because Wroxham had just been promoted into that level, but it was just a better setup. And I started a youth academy there, which is now absolutely flourishing at Sudbury, and brought in the team that have now taken that on and done a fantastic job. Right. And with Danny Laws, and they obviously then went on, and we did okay there, and we got offered the St Neots job. So I went with David again to be our first full season there. We lost in the playoff to go into the National League on Truro away. Lost 1-0 on a penalty.
That's a fun trip to Truro away.
You couldn't go further to lose. Yeah. We had in the semi-finals, we had Poole away, which we won 1-0, and then the final was away at Truro, which we lost 1-0, and that would have been for promotion into the National League. So then the following season there, we had just had terrible injuries, but we were still seventh, and the chairman decided, or actually no, David decided that he'd had enough. He recommended to the chairman that I take over as manager. Yeah. And within the hour, I was sacked.
Within an hour?
Yeah. I was actually in China on work business at the time, and just got told that they wanted to go a different direction. So, which was strange because it wasn't their decision; it was David's decision to step away. But anyway, that then led me back to have a little bit of time off. I had 6 months out of football, which was, I worked out, was the first time that I hadn't been involved with Saturday football from about the age of 14. So I was due a break, and took about 6 months off. Then John Edridge at the time, who was Norwich United manager, said, "Can you come and help us do a bit of coaching?" So did. They'd just been promoted, and or about to be promoted. So it was a case of really come in. It was a great gig because John's obviously a good friend, and John said, "Look, come and do a bit of coaching. With about 12 points clear, we just got to get over the line. Oh, and we've got a Norfolk Senior Cup final." So I didn't take a lot of convincing that was not a lot could go wrong, and we lost the Senior Cup final that year, 2-0 to Dereham, but obviously it's promoted, so it was nice just to come in the back of that. And then when we were talking plan for the summer, John just said, "Look, I think you're better suited to be a manager, and I'll be your assistant." And he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "Look, I said, that's, you've brought it to the table." I said, "So I'm not stepping on your toes." And he said, "No, look, He said, you're better suited to this, this and this, and I'm better suited to this, this and this. So we just swapped roles. So that first season in the Isthmian, we finished 9th, I think it was in the end. Had a great run.
Yeah.
Our recruitment had been our recruitment had been good. Obviously, recruitment's all hindsight, but we'd taken some punts that had paid off for us, put it that way, and everything was great. And then that season, then John decided to step down.
Yeah.
Just purely 3 young children, and it was just becoming too much for him. And then that year was a really tough year. In contrast, the punts I took the following year in recruitment didn't come off.
Yeah.
We had a really bad injury run back end of October into November, and I think we lost 8 games in a row. So in fairness, I was probably lucky to keep my job at that stage. And then, but the chairman supported me, and then after Christmas, we did okay. Certainly our run towards the end of the season, we went and got some really good results. You know, there was a couple of games towards the back end of that you get, and we got relegated with the highest ever points tally to be relegated.
Really?
Division. So it was a bit of a kick in the teeth. And I also felt that coming towards the end of that season, I needed a bit of a break. But do you know what, the Senior Cup game? It's horrible because obviously that was been my first Senior Cup as a manager. And obviously the first one I would have won as a manager. It was the first one Norwich United have ever won. I can't remember the game at all. I'm a person that's got a pretty good memory for scores and football and that kind of thing. In game, I can, obviously the score is 4-2, but in game, I can hardly remember that because we got relegated on the Saturday and the game was on the Monday, and it was a blur.
2 days, really?
Yeah, 2 days we had. And to be honest, the players were absolutely first class. Absolutely first class. We met in a hotel on the Monday afternoon, and their attitude was brilliant.
Yeah.
We just got the following year. Then it was the first day of pre-season, and I don't think I'd really analysed it all and reflected on it enough.
Yeah.
I just hadn't put myself in that headspace. And I got up on the first day of pre-season and I just said to my partner, Kate, I don't want to do it. And she said, well, don't then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I went and did the session, told the players at the end of the session I'm going to be stepping down. And that was that.
Yeah.
Walked away from it, had some time out to reflect and recharge. And then when the opportunity came up last year, just with this, I always felt this has got some lovely things about it as a club, but I never felt that it was a long-term fit for me.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get back in, and so I went and did that, and then that obviously brings us up to now. So that's kind of my
lovely, great stuff. Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, this originally it was just the plan was just to finish the season, wasn't it? So that. But then that goes out the window.
Yeah, I think they would have, liked me to commit longer, but I was very, very keen on it. Let's get to the end of the season and see where we're all at. Obviously, that was pre-pandemic, but I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to overcommit to them. I wanted just to make sure that it felt right for me, felt right for them, and in fairness, we never really had a chance to get going. Great people, lovely people. Steve and Pam Flatman, the chairman, and his wife as secretary, really good local football people.
Yeah.
But we never got a chance to really get it going and get under the bonnet.